There hasn't been much discussion of this, but tomorrow is a big day in the Ripple SEC lawsuit in this video. We'll talk about what to expect tomorrow, as well as some rumors circulating in the XRP community, such as whether the Ripple SEC lawsuit will be resolved in September. There's a lot of talk about this, and I'd like to talk about it, but I do talk about what's going on with the market right now near the end of the video. The cryptocurrency market has recently seen a precipitous drop. The dynamics between the SEC and the rest of the cryptocurrency businesses are, in my opinion, really interesting, so I'd like to go over exactly what's going on here and how this is preventing a lot of wealth from flowing right now, but not in the long run. Many people are discussing it. As a result, I'd like to start this video by debunking a common assumption in traditional finance. You shouldn't confront regulators like the SEC, and you shouldn't oppose institutions because Ripple followed the same mentality. I'd like to demonstrate. What Coinbase has to say about it is as follows. We all must understand this. Because many people are watching these scenarios and wondering who won and who lost, the situation isn't really about that. Pay attention to what the chief legal officer has to say. It's a terrific quote, in my opinion, and it will give you a better insight into what the Bitcoin sector is doing to resist the SEC. Matt simply states that executives, or our stockholders, are interested in this, which affects all of us in the firm, and that's one of the reasons Brian Armstrong and our board have so strongly urged me to commit so that we can do our best. Best since so many people across the world rely on us to operate at the top level, regardless of the resources required. You have now inquired about winning and losing. One of the things I believe frequently generates confusion about how Coinbase is approaching this case is the idea. Because we must win to avoid losing, and without a doubt, the SEC, or at the absolute least, the chair has stated that if we could simply establish that one token, in one circumstance, constituted security, the problem would be over. Simply false, it's false, since our definition of success has always attempted to make it obvious what the rules and requirements are, and we will follow them. In this situation, I believe it will win. And I believe we will prevail in all respects if the court follows my expectations. We should all expect the court to follow them and lay out the standards and rules that underpin that decision. We will comply, and others will be able to comply in a way that is simply not currently possible. But if I'm wrong about that, if we lose by a token product or service here or there, we will be able to comply in a way that is simply not currently possible. That is why we have been so persistent. That specific tape was great in my opinion because it accurately captured what happened in the Ripple SEC case. Ripple did not expect to profit from every XRP transaction, which appeared so unlikely that it would always fail. The truth is that Ripple has always wished to follow the law, and the SEC was telling companies, including Coinbase, that they couldn't perform certain things and that they should shut down. Therefore, it isn't always about winning or losing in these instances. Obviously, winning is preferable to losing, but the key is to become familiar with the rules of the road in their legal battle with the SEC. Ripple discovered that practically no XRP sales violate securities restrictions, posing a major risk. They gain victory, but they also get clarity on which transactions do and do not violate securities legislation. The Bitcoin industry requires. A similar method is utilized by Coinbase, who are aware that their platform will certainly offer goods that violate securities regulations, but they don't particularly want to register them. They simply need to know which ones are securities. Because so many people are just concerned with the outcome, who won and who lost. I feel everyone needed to see, but clarity is most important, and in the end, many people assume that if the SEC targets a product, it must be illegal. It is not always illegal. It only suggests that it must be registered many times. These cryptocurrency merchants are overjoyed to simply register their goods. The SEC refuses to reveal which products must be registered. It's a farce. However, I felt it was critical to show you that video. Stuart Alderati replied that the term "don't poke the bear" should never be used. Again, while meeting with lawyers, since it appears to be the only way to stop these unelected bureaucrats from advancing their failing political agenda. Many people have recently stated this. In reality, the SEC attempted to challenge the law but was unsuccessful. Despite the Howey criteria, the SEC is attempting to designate bitcoins as securities by breaching the law. 85-year track record of proving us wrong. I simply believe that we all must understand this way of thinking. Now, the Bitcoin industry is working hard to figure out how it may legally operate in the United States. States and the SEC is reacting in kind. The good news is that the U.S. court system has been doing an excellent job, and they have been bringing it to the SEC, which they did not expect. I was shocked that the judge agreed with the Bitcoin companies who sued the SEC, but that is probably the only advantage. Even though our politicians and regulators are corrupt, our courts are unbiased and will always uphold the law, and the course here has truly pleased me. I'm ecstatic. More than sure, Coinbase will soon obtain a large victory in their lawsuit, just as Ripple, Grayscale, and other parties did in their cases. Any chance that SEC had of actually taking control of this sector should be effectively dashed as a result of this. I'd want to quickly go over the reasons. The market dropped today, and the SEC delayed almost every Bitcoin spot ETF, which is one of the most important implications I can draw. Because of this, even though Grayscale recently defeated the SEC, and the court essentially told the SEC, hey, it's BS that you're denying this ETF, in essence ETS, can now be delayed by the SEC, I believe that the market's steep decline was caused by the widespread belief that BlackRock's ETF application would never be rejected. The SEC and BlackRock are partners. BlackRock has no intention of registering an ETF and having it denied or postponed, yet that is exactly what happened today. What can we take away from this? Teaches us that no one can run a Bitcoin firm in the United States, regardless of whether you're a major organization like Ripple or Coinbase. Even if you are not permitted to conduct business in the United States, many people believe that BlackRock will be let in since they are BlackRock. This is the lesson, according to the SDC. This should teach us anything because it is not what is happening in this case. If you deal in cryptocurrency, the SDC is out to get you, no matter who you are. This perfectly summarizes the present market condition. Many people thought that BlackRock would pass, but as of late, it appears like the SEC is fighting everyone, and in all honesty, I believe this is a poor technique. You're well aware that we're not interested in you. We just want the big boys through the door because they have a proven track record. They could have just let BlackRock and Fidelity through and said nothing. Simply put, the SEC is at odds with all cryptocurrencies, and please allow me to state that that is the primary reason we have not seen. Because not all Bitcoin companies have the financial capacity to persuade legislators, there has been more of a drive in recent years, but when you turn Fragility and BlackRock against you guys. People are almost in control of the political system. Therefore, I'm not sure how long the Secretary's position on issues like this will last. Therefore, I want to go on and discuss what will happen tomorrow while speculating on whether or not a settlement will be reached in September. Twitter is currently buzzing with rumors that the SEC Ripple's case will be resolved in September. I'd like to give my thoughts on that, but first, let's go over what we'll see tomorrow in detail. In the Ripple SEC case, Ripple will make a motion tomorrow to explain to the judge why the SEC should not be allowed to launch an appeal in this matter. For those who are unaware, the SEC is effectively contesting the judge. Ripple is essentially going to file a document tomorrow, stating that the SEC shouldn't be able to do this at this moment because Ripple has prevailed. They will receive Hardin's letter. In my perspective, and pursuing the SEC, Ripple was already insistent that the SEC should not even be allowed to file its motion to request an appeal. So I have a feeling that this decision will be reversed. Refusing the appeal will be much more forceful, given that many people believe Judge Torres will announce his decision to deny the SEC's request for this appeal in September, and the case will be resolved. I'd like to explain why I don't think that will happen, at least not in that time frame. To be honest, what I just mentioned is precisely what I expect to happen. The SEC's appeal will, in my opinion, be rejected by Judge Torres, and the case will then be concluded. However, I do not believe this will happen before September. The SEC must react to Ripple's response to the section's original request. Even though I know it's absurd, I don't see Judge Torres by September 18th. She'll probably need 2 to 3 months to create and submit this document in the coming weeks, after which we'll find out what she decides based on the duration of your period, which we received for the entire case. I believe we will hear Judge Torres' judgment in November or December, after which the SEC and Ripple will be forced to settle, in my opinion. And the reason I feel they will be forced to settle if they are rejected. The SEC has no more charges to pursue against them, thus they have the opportunity to appeal. Consider the following. The SEC's case is exclusively concerned with whether Chris Larsen and Brad Garlinghouse deliberately broke the law by selling XRP. Even now, the majority of XRP sales do not violate securities rules, so how could they have done so? As a result, nothing about it makes sense. It makes sense to begin by taking the matter to trial. The SEC would be wasting its time. Another factor is that the trials in New York were recently brought to my attention. These are all SEC employees from the Trump administration, which is not political in any way. What I'm trying to convey is that if Brad and Chris just stated that these people are corrupt. Half of New York is represented by Trump-era officials. As previously indicated, I am not present, to engage in politics by simply expressing facts. Please, and I think we can all agree on this. That's how it works, therefore, if Judge Torres truly rejects the SEC's appeal, I don't see the rest of this case going to trial. As a gambler, I wager that she will reject the SEC's appeal in this issue. It's just a matter of when. I doubt it will be in September, November, or December. In my opinion, the end of this matter can then be discussed. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Being present, I hope you enjoyed this update. Please keep in mind to like, and it means a lot if you subscribe a lot.